Have you ever felt like you're chasing success, but kind of losing yourself along the way? Well, that's the heart of Robin Sharfa's modern classic, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. It's this incredible story about a lawyer who had it all and then lost it, only to find a much richer, more meaningful way to live. So let's dive into his journey and see what it can teach us.
So this story kicks off at a moment of just absolute crisis. We meet Julian Mantle, a legal superstar. One of the best trial lawyers in the country. And he has a massive heart attack. But this isn't just a health scare. No, this is the complete and total breakdown of a man who, from the outside, seemed to have everything.
So, who was this guy, Julian Mantle, before this huge wake-up call? Well, he was the absolute picture of success. At least, that's what it looked like. But that shiny, spectacular exterior, it was hiding a really troubled reality on the inside.
And here you can really see the two sides of the coin for Julian. On one hand, you've got all the symbols of success we're taught to want: a seven-figure income, the mansion, a private jet, and yeah, of course, that prized red Ferrari. But then you look at the other side of the ledger and it tells a totally different story. This was an overweight, sick man whose spirit was just broken. He was only 53, but he looked like he was pushing 70. He'd completely lost his way.
So after his collapse in that courtroom, Julian does something nobody expects. He just liquidates his entire life. Sells the mansion, the private island, he even sells the Ferrari. And then he vanishes. Poof. Gone. For 3 whole years, nobody hears a thing from him. When he finally shows up again, the change is so dramatic, so profound, it's pretty much a miracle.
So the big question is, where in the world did he go? Well, Julian traveled to India. He was searching for answers, the big life questions. And his journey wasn't just a vacation. It was this deep, personal quest that led him way up into the Himalayan mountains, searching for a legendary group of sages.
And he was relentless. After 7 months in India, he finally gets a breakthrough. He meets a yogi who tells him about these legendary sages of Savannah, hidden deep in the Himalayas. So what does Julian do? Without even hesitating, he starts this incredibly dangerous solo trek up into the mountains. For 7 days, he's guided only by his gut feeling, pushing forward, until, finally, he meets one of them.
And this right here is the turning point. The sage agrees to share their ancient wisdom, their whole system for living an enlightened life. But there's a catch. There's one condition. Julian has to promise to take everything he learns, go back to the West, and share it with everyone. This pact, it's the reason this whole story even exists.
Now, you'd think the sages would just give Julian a list of rules to follow, right? But nope, they did something way more creative. They packed their entire philosophy into a single, really symbolic, and honestly, pretty strange little story.
This fable is the absolute key to everything. It's designed to be unforgettable. Every single weird, bizarre thing in this story is actually a symbol for one of 7 virtues you need to live a happier, more fulfilling life.
Okay, so the fable starts like this. I want you to picture yourself sitting right in the middle of the most incredible, lush green garden you have ever seen. It's totally peaceful, it's beautiful, just serene. Now, right in the center of this perfect garden, there's something you wouldn't expect at all: a huge, 6-story-high red lighthouse. It just stands there, this giant beacon in the middle of all that green.
Okay, and here's where it gets really weird. The door to the lighthouse creaks open, and out stumbles a 9-foot-tall, 900-pound sumo wrestler. Oh, and he's naked, except for a single pink wire cable covering his, This image is meant to stick in your head for a very good reason.
Now, the fable keeps going. There are more strange things. A stopwatch, roses, a path of diamonds, and each one is a symbol for another key virtue. But for now, we're going to focus on the very first one, the foundation of it all, the garden itself. His first virtue is honestly maybe the most important one. Because that garden represents your mind. And how you take care of it, how you tend to it, basically determines the quality of your entire life. So the teaching from the sages is actually pretty simple. Your mind is a garden. If you cultivate it, plant beautiful flowers, good thoughts, positive ideas, it will blossom in ways you can't even imagine. But if you let it go, and you let all those toxic weeds like worry and fear and anxiety take root, well, you're never going to find any real inner peace. You have to be the guardian at the gate of your own mind.
Now check this out. This is a crazy insight from the sages that feels so true today.
They taught that the average person has about 60,000 thoughts a day. But here's the shocking part. 95% of those thoughts are the exact same thoughts we had the day before. They call this the tyranny of impoverished thinking. It's like being stuck in a mental loop of the same old, often negative stuff. Basically, your own personal negative newsfeed, just on repeat, all day long.
This quote really just sums up the whole idea perfectly. Mastering your mind isn't some secret, mystical power. It's just about taking back conscious control. Because if you don't tell your thoughts where to go, they will run wild and they will control you. And that usually leads straight to worry and stress.
Okay, so that's the big idea. But how do you actually do it? I mean, how do you start taking care of that garden? Well, the sages gave Julian some really simple, practical tools to get started. Let's look at one of the main exercises. So this technique is called the heart of the rose. It's a really powerful, ancient way to build focus. It's super simple. You just find a rose, find a quiet spot, and you put all of your attention on the very center of it. You just notice its color, its texture, its smell. Now, your mind is definitely going to wander. That's what minds do. The real exercise is just gently, with no judgment, bringing your focus back to the rose. That's it. And you just start with 5 minutes a day.
So what's the point of just staring at a flower? Well, think of it like taking your brain to the gym. Every single time you notice your mind has wandered and you bring it back, that's 1 rep. You're building a mental muscle. You're training your mind to be your servant, not your master. And this practice is a direct attack on the worry habit because it builds up your skill of focused attention, and that creates real, genuine inner calm.
Ultimately, the message here is that true change, it's an inside job. It has nothing to do with being better than other people. True nobility, the sages say, is about being better than the person you were yesterday. So the question the fable leaves us with is a really personal one. If you look at the garden of your own mind, what is the first weed? That one nagging worry, that recurring fear, that negative thought pattern. What is the one weed you will choose to pull out starting today?